Welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left-footed. And what's up, guys? It's your boy, Pep Fernandez, and welcome to the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified on a Wednesday night, an at-home edition. To be honest, I've just been under the weather this week, not feeling real great. Didn't make it down to the studio at Teen Vision TV 16, but I do want to shout out our awesome director, Johnny Nunez, for making himself available. Just did not feel great. So, but the show must go on. So we still wanted to do a show tonight. It's another big week of high school football, so we'll talk some high school football later in the show with Jeff Goram, my co-host on the Friday Night Pep Rally on Riverside TV, and I'll do a quick plug for that as well. If you guys are new to the scene, that's all right. We'd love to have you. Friday nights on Riverside TV, live from 11 to midnight. Scores, highlights, interviews, some fun as well. Myself, Jeff, special guests. So that's every Friday night, the Friday Night Pep Rally on Riverside TV, high school football. If you know, you know. But we're going to talk high school football again with Jeff a little bit later in the show, preview some of the big matchups coming up in week number 7. We also got our weekly high school football awards. Usually I post the individual videos on the Inland Sports YouTube channel, like the Boost Top 25, Ken Sporting Goods Must See Game, the Inland Sports All-Stars, those sorts of things. Didn't get a chance to do it this week. I was out of town up in Northern California, back home in the Redding area. Then I got sick. So here we are. So we're going to do it all tonight. So I hope you guys are watching and I hope you'll enjoy it as well. But we're going to start with the Citrus Valley Blackhawks. We got an interview with those guys. Big matchup against Beaumont in Citrus Belt League play. And in fact, that is our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game this week. Citrus Valley, 3-3, taking on an undefeated 6-0 Beaumont squad. And, the Cougars have the undefeated record intact. Citrus Valley, though, battle-tested. They played some really good teams in non-league play. The winner of this game will be the number 1 contender against Cajon, right? Cajon is your 6-time Citrus Belt League champion. And Citrus Valley will actually play Cajon next week. So I know you can't look too far ahead, especially if you're the Blackhawks, because you got to focus on Beaumont this week. And the Cougars are playing really well. They're scoring a lot of points. And, a heck of a coaching matchup in this one. Jeff Steinberg at Beaumont. And, of course, the great Kurt Bruick at Citrus Valley. So great programs, excellent head coaches, and a lot on the line. It's our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Citrus Valley taking on Beaumont. So we had a chance to catch up with several of the Citrus Valley star players. Jez Thurston, offensive lineman. Jordyn Harris, who's a receiver but does a little bit of everything for Coach B. And quarterback Dawson Martinez, the transfer from Redlands High School, made his debut last week in a win against the Terriers after that 5-game sit-out period. So here's our interview with the Citrus Valley Blackhawks as they get ready for that showdown with Beaumont this coming week in our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. We are checking in with the Citrus Valley Blackhawks, getting ready for a huge game against Beaumont this coming week in CBL action. It's only the second league game of the year, but this is a huge one. Join us here on the show. We've got a little bit of everything. We got some size up front. Jez Thurston. We got Jordyn Harris, who we're going to talk to him in a moment because he does everything, but I think he's a wide receiver by trade if you ask him. And Dawson Martinez, under center now, playing quarterback for the Blackhawks as well. Guys, first off, thanks for making the time. Really appreciate it. And Jez, let me start with you because I feel obviously the linemen are the unsung heroes, right? I mean, they make the whole team go, but it's always the quarterbacks like Dawson or Jordyn over here making all the touchdowns, getting all the publicity. But Man, Jez, I know you guys played a tough non-league schedule, right? You played some really good teams in non-league play. But do you feel like Citrus Valley is a better team for it, playing really good teams to prepare you for CBL and hopefully a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I think playing harder teams in the preseason is way easier. I think that once you get to CBL, most of the teams aren't as good as the preseason team, so then everything becomes easy and makes.
Now, Jez, listen, I tweet a lot. I do a lot on social.
Like that.
Hey, Jez, you froze for just a second, but I think we're okay now. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Jez, I tweet a lot. I'm on social media quite a bit, but I think you might even beat me on Twitter because you're always putting your stuff out there. I mean, in this day and age for a high school football player, it's important to promote yourself, right? Make sure you're putting yourself in front of these coaches and maybe visits to colleges. What's that experience been like for you so far?
It's been a blast. I'm trying to enjoy every little second I have. It's my senior year, so trying to live out the best I can and enjoy the last little bit of my childhood until I go up to college and really have to go against some big boys. So, yeah.
Now, Jez, I'll get to your guys, Jordyn and Dawson, in just a second. But going back to last season, it was great beating Cajon in the first round in the playoffs. But do you feel like, man, CV could have went farther? Like they could have made a deep playoff run. I know Division II is brutal, so many good teams. But do you feel like coming back this year, you're like, man, we got something to prove this year?
Yeah, and that all starts with CBL. I mean, you got to first. Our goals are to win all the championships, and it starts with CBL. So we got to win CBL. Then, depending on where we're at in the division and in the playoffs, we got to go win state. That's our end objective. So I mean. That's just, we got to take it one game at a time, and it starts this week with Beaumont.
All right, Jordyn, let me go to you, man. Okay, so I would think, like, if you said, hey, write down your position on a piece of paper, you'd probably write down receiver. But, dude, you block punts, you throw touchdowns. You've done, like, everything for Citrus Valley this year. What's your mindset, or what's kind of the way you approach football? Is it just, hey, I just want to be a football player. I just want to make plays for my team. Like, how do you kind of approach the game and being able to do a lot of different things on the football field?
I really approach the game just going into the week, doing whatever coach needs me to do to help out the team and do whatever's best for the team. I don't really have my mindset on anything besides going to college. I love playing receiver, but I can be used anywhere around the field.
The previous week you ran for a touchdown, you caught a touchdown, you threw a touchdown pass. What kind of, was that special? What did you think about that game, being able to do a little bit of everything to help your team?
It felt good having the ball in my hands. To make the plays that I am, like the playmaker I am. I told Coach, give me the ball, and he did that in every way that he could. So it felt good.
Now, Jordyn, obviously, a huge game coming up against Beaumont. The Cougars are off to a 6-0 start. In terms of that Citrus Belt League title race, I know it still goes through Cajon, but to set up a big matchup with Cajon, you got to get past Beaumont first. When you see this matchup with Beaumont, what do you think are the keys to victory? What do you guys have to do well? What do the Blackhawks have to do well to hopefully come out with a W?
Honestly, all we got to do is just be us, play our best game, put our best ability, and figure out everything that we need to do throughout the week to beat them. I don't think there's no team out here that can really beat us when we're at our best. And I think it all starts out with practice. We got the best coaching staff in the programs around here, and they do a lot for us. All we have to do is execute the game plan, and we should be fine.
Excellent. Good stuff there, Jordyn. Let me go to Dawson Martinez. And Dawson, I know that the sit-out period is tough. I mean, was it hard watching your team out there on the field and feeling like, man, I wish I could be out there, helping these guys out? They were doing pretty good without you, but still to be out there and take them to that next level.
Honestly, I was jealous. I just wanted to get out there and play. But it was more time for me to get better. So, yeah, I literally used that time for the past 5 weeks to get stronger, faster, and bigger and better shape. But, yeah, I was just jealous. I want to get out there and help.
That was my next question, Dawson. That's a perfect segue. I was going to ask you, During that sit-out period, did it give you a chance, did it buy you more time maybe to get familiar with the offense at Citrus Valley, to, what's it like, playing under Coach Bruick, and, just more time for you to feel comfortable in that new situation?
So I started off, before the season started, we had a scrimmage against Arupa, and then that game I realized I was like really out of shape, and there's a lot of things I could have learned, especially with the offense. So I watched Cade, and I was looking at him like how I would play, so I'd use him as if I was playing. So I'd put myself in his shoes to get me better. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was a good 5 weeks to learn. It definitely helped. So when I came last week against Redlands, I was ready to go.
Well, obviously playing Redlands, that must have felt good to get the win against the Terriers. But you also had a big game. What was it like just being able to get out there and help your team and play in a real game? Yeah,
it was really fun. It was a week I've been waiting for since I've actually left RHS. I've been thinking about that week, and it's already gone just like that. But it felt good to be back. I had a good game. We all played together, which is really good. Everyone was supporting me, and they're all on my side, which is cool. But yeah, it was fun.
And finally, Dawson, like I asked Jordyn, obviously this is a huge game against Beaumont. That goes without saying, to give your team a chance to win a Citrus Belt League title, you got to get through Beaumont first, and they're having a great season right now. Offensively, what do you think the Blackhawks have to do well on Friday night to get a W?
Honestly, just play together. If we play together, we're going to get the win. Once we play together, like Jordyn said, no one's stopping us. We're the best offense out there. We got the coaches to get us ready to prepare us and everything. I think we're ready to go.
Does the week leading up to a big game, does it feel different? Like, are you guys more locked in? Are you guys more serious? Or is it just kind of business as usual, whether you're, getting ready for some team we've never heard of or a big-time rivalry game like against Beaumont to, potentially decide a Citrus Belt League title?
Honestly, we prepare for every team the exact same, so we execute the same. There's nothing different, really.
Well, Dawson, Jordyn, Jez, listen, guys, I really appreciate the time. Good work this season. I know there's still a lot to accomplish in front of you guys with the rest of CBL play and hopefully a deep playoff run as well. But I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on the Inland Sports Show for a couple minutes, guys. Best of luck on Friday night against Beaumont.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Citrus Valley Blackhawks here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. All right, a big shout out to the Blackhawks. A huge game against Beaumont coming up this week. And I do want to remind everyone, if you're driving around in your car or maybe you're at home, you can listen to the game online or on the radio, KMET 1490 AM. Our good friends over there will have that game live this Friday night. Blackhawks and Cougars, a huge game in the Citrus Belt League. Our Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. All right, we'll take a quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, we'll have the Boost Top 25 poll, the Big Boost Play of the Week, some of the top games coming up in week number 7, and a little bit later in the show, Jeff Goram, my Inland Sports cohort guy, and our co-host on the Pep Rally on Friday nights, the voice of Riverside TV. We'll talk high school football. I think we'll mix in some UC Riverside basketball as well, because some big news with the Highlanders. So we'll talk about that when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken. Hey, what's up, guys? Look who it is. It's Coach Bass, the Boost Man here at Boost Performance Training. My name is Pep Fernandez. We've got another gridiron question for you guys out there. And Coach, we're continuing the series. We started it last time on some of the worst things parents can do to stunt the growth of the athlete in their lives. And of course, they don't want to do that. They're not doing it on purpose. We talked about the worst thing you could do on the last episode, so go check out the video. What's the next one, Coach?
Yeah, Pep, it's definitely too much expectation for other people to help their kids. Look, there are a lot of great coaches out there who can bring real value to your kids' athletic development, but you got to understand that only the student athletes can walk the path. You know, they're the ones that have to put the work in, go to class, and perform on the field. You know, it always kills me to see parents who don't empower their kids with the tenacity to get things done. Instead, they accept the idea that someone else can do it for them. You know, and this is far from the truth. And not to say that parents shouldn't invest or rely on coaches who can help with their kids' athletic development. You know, parents should try their best to invest in qualities that can be measured, because this removes all ambiguity in terms of what that coach has actually done for their child, and parents can see real growth. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you check in for the next Gridiron, where we talk about what you parents can do to help with your child's athletic development.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And welcome back, guys, to the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. If you're just joining us, I was out of town this past weekend, and then I got a little bit sick. The good news is I'm on the tail end of it. Still got a little bit of a head cold. It feels like a sinus infection, but I'm doing good, and the show must go on. So we'll be back in the Team Vision TV 16 studio next week. Right now, high school football, we want to get through our weekly awards, things that we like to do, the big games, the big players, the Boost Top 25, which I know you guys love. Let's start with our Week 6 Inland Sports All-Stars, and you might have noticed we added a 6th All-Star the last couple of weeks. David Olanian from Canyon Springs, the running back, going nuts against Moreno Valley. 264 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in the Cougars' narrow win against Moval in the Butterfield Stagecoach Trophy. That's a perpetual trophy between those two rivals. Big win there for the Cougars. Faux-high running back Rashawn Williams, 175 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. He also played great defense, 7 tackles, also picked off a pass, helping the Steelers defeat Colton in a key game in the Skyline League. Aquinas quarterback Malachi Jones, man, making his season debut, and what a game. 122 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. He also passed for 2 touchdowns, so Jones going for a total of 5 TDs in that league victory for the Falcons. Dawson Martinez also making his season debut for Citrus Valley, the former Redlands player transferring over to CV, and he popped off 4 touchdowns passing, also ran for more than 100 yards and a rushing touchdown in a big win against the Terriers in their CBL opener. Caden Rossi, ACA tailback, helping the Eagles stay undefeated on the season, man. The Mighty Eags, 6-0. Rossi going for 158 and 3 touchdowns as they took down, I think it was, what was it, Trinity Classical, I want to say, over by Magic Mountain, I think it was. I'm trying to remember last week. And Jeffrey Blaylock, big game at receiver for Paloma Valley as they beat Riverside Poly. Blaylock 216, catching 3 touchdowns. Paloma Valley now, they get Vista Del Lago, and that's basically your Sun Belt League championship game, just as it was a year ago, which Paloma Valley won. We'll see if Blaylock and his quarterback Brady Nelson can have a big game. And I got to give a shout out to Brady Nelson as well. He's been putting up all-star numbers all season long. He actually hit me up on Instagram and said, hey, my receiver, Jeff Blaylock, had a big game, man. We should recognize him. You're right, Brady. So I appreciate it. And you guys can always feel free to hit me up. I try to respond to all the DMs, whether mostly Instagram and Twitter. I'm not real good on Facebook, I'll be honest. I'm not real good on Facebook. So if you message me there, sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. But definitely on Twitter, definitely on Instagram. So if you message me there, I'm pretty good about getting back to everyone at some point. So I do appreciate it. And thank you, Brady, for hitting me up. Let me know about your receiver, Jeff Blaylock. All right, so that's our Week 6 Inland Sports All-Stars. This guy is also an All-Star basically every single week, and he has our Big Boost Play of the Week. It's the one, the only, Bear Bachmeyer. Inland Sports. Marietta Valley quarterback Bear Bachmeyer helping the Nighthawks pick up a big win against Roosevelt in Big West play, and check out this run. Finesse, some power right there, and into the end zone for Bear Bachmeyer. Man, what a run here. Check it out. Not once, not twice, 3 times here on the screen as Bachmeyer again showing finesse, dancing down the line, runs a guy over, gets into the paint, and that's our Big Boost Play of the Week. Brought to you by Marietta Valley QB Bear Bachmeyer. Man, what a touchdown run. All right, next up, it's our Boost Top 25 poll. Not a lot of movement, but I will say this. Let's preface it like this before we get to the top 25 is, we don't have to hypothetically say who will beat another school and which team is better, because a lot of these teams are going head-to-head. They will decide it on the field. That's the good news. The bad news is if there's not one team that beats everybody else and they just take turns beating each other up and they all got about the same record, and, I'll give, for example, Paloma Valley's good, Kaiser's good, Ramona's good, King's good, but when you kind of look down the list, it's like, well, let's see, I'm trying to remember. Kaiser beat Paloma, but Ramona beat Kaiser. And so, if Vista Del Lago, they play Paloma Valley this week. If Vista Del Lago wins, then we had them right in the rankings all along. Let's say Paloma Valley beats Vista Del Lago. Then what do? Do you put Paloma Valley ahead of Kaiser and Ramona? And so it's just kind of a mess. So you kind of see where our thinking is. If you have a couple teams just run the table, it's easy. But if you have teams beating each other up, then strength of schedule, you got to look at their opponents. So the good news is a lot of these teams who are ranked are going head-to-head, so they will decide it on the field. We don't have to have hypotheticals going forward in the next couple of weeks. Let's take a look at the Boost Top 25 after week number 6, Centennial on top, and it's flooded with a bunch of Big West Conference schools. Not a shock there. Marietta Valley moves up to the 2 spot. Chaparral's going to dip down to number 3 after losing to Centennial this past week. Vista Marietta climbs to number 4 after a dominant win against Norco. Man, I thought it was going to be a great game, but that was just a decisive win by the Broncos, so they leapfrog Cajon. Cajon's in at number 5. Beaumont at 6. A little bit farther down, Citrus Valley at 9. So again, Beaumont's playing Citrus Valley this week. So if Citrus Valley beats Beaumont head-to-head, I mean, the Blackhawks will go in front of Beaumont. I guess it's that simple, right? Because if you beat a team head-to-head, you've done it on the field. If Beaumont wins, then we've got them right where they belong, and then we'll see what happens when they play Cajon in a couple of weeks. So that's how it's working out. Roosevelt at 7, Norco's at 8. Norco just ahead of CV because remember, Norco beats Citrus Valley head-to-head. So that's how it kind of stacks up there. And Orange Vista back into the top 10 in at number 10. Aquinas at number 11, knocking on the door of the top 10. Depending on what Orange Vista does in Ivy League play, maybe Aquinas has a shot to get into the top 10. San Jacinto in at number 12. I know San Jacinto's got Tockwitz this week. They've got Liberty coming up the following week, so a big stretch coming up for the Tigers. If they dominate, San Jacinto might be in the top 10. Liberty comes in at number 13. They beat West Valley, but it wasn't overwhelming. They had to hold off the Mustangs at the very end. They escaped with a win against West Valley the previous week. Yucaipa suffered their first loss of the season against Beaumont. They're in at number 14, followed by Norte Vista, Rancho Verde, Eisenhower at 6-0 at 17. Eisenhower has some big games coming up. Again, toss the hypotheticals out the window. We're about to find out how good Eisenhower is. They've got Kaiser, then they're going to go right into Sunkist League play. They'll have Summit, they'll have Harupa Hills, they'll have Grand Terrace. So we're going to find out if Kaiser can run with an undefeated regular season. So we'll find out how good these guys are. And if they are that good, they're going to move up in the rankings, no doubt. Great Oak, a close 1-point win against King, followed by Summit. Temecula Valley. Vista del Lago moves into number 21, followed by King. Tockwitz up a spot. They're at 23, followed by Elsinore and Grand Terrace. That's the Boost Top 25 after week number 6. Can't wait for some of these teams to play head-to-head so we don't have to guess who's the better team. They will decide on the field. All right, a little bit earlier, we told you Citrus Valley versus Beaumont is the Kin Sporting Goods must-see game this week. Here's a couple more of the top games coming up in week number 7. We got the Jack taking on Tockwitz. This was a close game last year, and San Jacinto trying to bring on all comers. Tockwitz, Liberty, maybe West Valley, who knows? And the Mountain Pass, big one coming up for the Tigers. Elsinore against Orange Vista. We put this one on the list because Orange Vista, remember last year the Ivy League got a little dicey at the end because Orange Vista lost to Elsinore. So we'll see if the Tigers can do it again this year. Paloma Valley versus Vista del Lago. No slight to the other teams in the Sun Belt League, but this is basically your league championship game already in week number 7. A couple Big West Conference games. Murrieta Valley versus Norco. We'll see if the Norco Cougars can bounce back after losing to Vista Murrieta. And Murrieta Valley looked really good against Roosevelt. Vista Murrieta riding high. They're going to take on a Chaparral team that probably feels like they've got something to prove. After losing to Centennial. Then we've got Crest versus Ramona. This is a critical game because one of these teams is going to fall to 0-2 in the River Valley League, and that is going to be tough to battle back and climb up the standings to get into a playoff spot as we go through River Valley League play. The RVL is probably one of the most closely competitive leagues we have in the area. A lot of those teams are very close. And finally, Eisenhower working on the undefeated season, taking on a good Kaiser squad. We'll see if the Eagles can keep it going, man. Really excited about that one. So those are some of the top games coming up in week 7 of the season. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to check in with the big Jeezy, Jeff Goram. You can see him on Riverside TV with Ghazal Hassan doing the weekly games. He also joins me on the Friday night pep rally for high school football. He's also the voice of UC Riverside basketball, so we'll talk a lot of things with Jeff as we preview, might even pick some winners for high school football games coming up this week. So we'll be right back here on the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
Coaches, here are 3 keys to building a great speed session. Check it out. Number 1, the dynamic warm-up. This should increase tissue temperature and be specific to the movement you're doing in your session. Number 2, plyometrics. For power development, this should be done right after the dynamic warm-up when athletes are still fresh and should be consistent to the movement you're doing in your session. Number 3, mix technique with application. Your speed session should be reps, 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 followed by mechanics to reinforce good technique, then back to the reps. And remember, always emphasize quality over volume, and greater distances should have lower overall volume. Boost man.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We had a chance to talk to Jeff Goram. You can find him on Riverside TV with the Riverside TV Game of the Week, the Coach's Perspective, which previews the Game of the Week. Also, he joins me on Friday nights on the Pep Rally, the voice of UC Riverside men's basketball. He's also doing UCR volleyball on Thursday night on ESPN+, so you can check that out as well. So we'll talk a lot of high school football, a little bit of Highlanders. We had a little bit of technical difficulty here, but you can still hear our interview with Jeff Goram right now. We want to talk some high school football. I know the Riverside TV Game of the Week is it King against Santiago this week, isn't it?
It is. It's Bert Esposito versus Jason McMains. It will be the battle royale. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to seeing Coach Espo and McMains. I think King is a really good team, and they lost a tough one last week. I think they're going to rebound here and play pretty well against Santiago.
So you interview both coaches on the Coach's Perspective on the Riverside TV Game of the Week. So you talked to Coach Espo, you talked to Coach McMains. I talked to Coach Espo in the offseason. He knew that Santiago was going to be really young, and I think the talent's there. They've got enough kids that they will be good, but he knew it was going to take some time. If we thought he was going to run off and win a CIF title. I mean, because we got used to him, we were spoiled. He was so good. They were good at Paloma Valley. He took Temecula Valley to a CIF championship game, but it's going to take some time with the Sharks.
Well, you think about it. I mean, he has been the king of the rebuild. He was the king of the rebuild at Paloma Valley. He was a huge king of the rebuild at Temecula Valley. Remember, before he got there, they weren't winning very many games at all, maybe 2 or 3 a year, if that, and he took them to a championship. He told me during the Coach's Perspective and then private talks, he says, hey, I have new guys. They've never played football before, and they're young. And he says, it's going to take a while. He got the job late. He said the offseason this upcoming year, it's going to be no joke and back to bare bones football. But right now, it's just an evaluation year. He wants to know who can play for him.
And then on the flip side for McMains, I mean, man, they're coming off that tough 1-point loss to Great Oak, and I think every game's going to matter in that Big West League. The Kings got a shot to win the league championship, but every single one of those games matters, and that was a tough one to drop to Great Oak.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think McMains, he's like every other coach. He really takes these losses personally because he went for 2. But, you got to be that way. If you want to win championships, you got to gamble. You know that.
Yeah.
But I think Jason McMains has himself a great team. Anytime you have a good tight end, a good quarterback, and a receiver, I think you're pretty dominant. And I think they're hard to stop. And I think King, I'm going to call it out loud, I think they still have a shot to win the league championship.
Well, all they need is
fun. I'm getting attacked.
You're too sweet, Jeff. Well, I would say they would need, let's say, probably Marietta Mesa or Temecula Valley to beat Great Oak. And then if King controls their own destiny, I mean, who knows? Maybe let's record this and take note of this, but maybe we'll have a co-championship or a 3-way or a 4-way tie for that Big West League championship. I think that's entirely possible.
Well, I think Marietta Mesa is really a lot better than everybody thought they were. I mean, what were they? They were winless in the preseason, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But they played a daunting schedule, and I think they're going to be very, very good. The Rams, you never can sleep.
Yeah, I think so too. That league is going to be a ton of fun. Jeff, let's real quick talk about the Ivy League. Orange Vista was the champion last year, but it really came down to the final week. There were several teams still in the hunt. Rancho Verde, Elsinore, JW North, all those teams felt like they had a chance to, maybe sneak up on Orange Vista, but I don't know if there's any sneaking up this year. I think Orange Vista is the clear-cut favorite. At least in my estimate, and this is not a slight to the other teams in the league, but I think the real exciting part of the Ivy League is maybe the battle for second and third place to get into the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Rancho Verde game at the very end of the year could be the difference maker. I'll tell you what, those two, the Zomalt brothers can play against each other, and I wouldn't put it past Rancho Verde, getting the win. We don't know about the health of Sire. What's his name? Sire Gaines?
Sire Gaines, yeah.
We don't know about his health. I mean, he's had some injuries. If he can hold up, I think they're pretty darn tough to stop. But if he's not part of the process, I think things could change pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's a game changer. I mean, he's back, but I don't know if he's 100% or not. I haven't talked to Coach Zomalt, so I don't know officially. But if he's 100%, yeah, he's a game changer. He's one of the best players in the area, so I definitely agree with you there. Jeff, so as we haven't talked about the River Valley League yet entirely.
That's a mess right there.
Oh, man, the River Valley League, there's a couple leagues out there that I feel like are just really, really fun because they're so competitive. Like every single game, like the Big West, you feel like every single game is so important because all those teams are just so close. Norta Vista's great, but, I feel like maybe Ramona or Patriot or Hillcrest, maybe someone will give them a ball game. I don't know. So when we look at the River Valley League, Arlington versus Patriot this week is all of a sudden a big game, and so is Hillcrest versus Ramona because some of those teams are going to be 2-0. One of them is going to be 0-2.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you are Ramona or Hillcrest, you're itching to get that win. Ramona, the defending champs, lost. We've mentioned it over ad nauseum. 27 players, 18 starters are gone from last year's team, but Ken Mashinsky seems to just be able to put piece together a team. He's got a great quarterback. I think Acosta throws better on the run than any player in the city. They also have Jake Valenzuela. He's a great player. But Sincere Tolbert, those guys can cause some problems. But we saw what Norta Vista did to Hillcrest last week. And I'll tell you what, I don't think anybody in the River Valley League, and I want to say this nicely, I don't think anybody gets within 3 touchdowns of Norta Vista the rest of the way.
All right, bulletin board material from the Big Jeezy. Now, everyone's going to agree. Norta Vista is the heavy favorite to win that league championship. And kind of like the Ivy League, Orange Vista is probably the heavy favorite to win the league title. But anything can happen. We saw Elsinore beat Orange Vista last year, so we'll see what happens. And, hey, Jeff, before we let you go, let's talk UC Riverside basketball. The Highlanders are back on the floor. They're practicing. They're getting ready for the year, man. I know you're tight with Coach Magpayo. Could be a special season at UCR.
I don't care about those guys right now. You know who I care about? I'm calling a volleyball game for ESPN tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah, UC Santa Barbara and UCR battling it out. UCR's won 3 in a row. That's never happened in 23 years in the Big West. They're playing an undefeated UC Santa Barbara foe. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be on the call. Okay, let's talk basketball. Mike Magpayo, I still talk to him all the time. I'll tell you, there's some big question marks with this team. You lose Flynn Cameron. You lose Zion Pullen. Zion Pullen's playing at starting guard at Florida now. Flynn Cameron playing professional basketball back in New Zealand. There is going to be is it Nate Pickens? Is it one of those guys that can take up the scoring slack? Because remember, that was primarily all of their scoring.
Yeah, I remember last year when I saw them, I was doing the CBU games and they played each other, and I was like, man, that backcourt of Flynn Cameron and Zion Pullen, that was one of the better backcourts that I saw all season long. And to lose both those guys, I don't want to say it's a rebuild, but yeah, who's going to pick up the scoring?
Oh no, it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild in the sense you just have to fill guys in. We already know that there's there's other players that you have Martinez in the post. He's gotten. I mean, from what I saw from 2 years ago to last year, he improved his game immensely. The big fellow who transferred from UNLV, if he can play the post and be a rim protector and be that guy, I think they're going to be a formidable foe in the Big West. Santa Barbara's going to be great. Irvine always retools, but Irvine lost a lot of their scoring. They lost their backcourt. The kid from Poly, and then the other kid transferred to BYU, and he went. Where did the kid go? DJ Davis transferred to Memphis, I think, or one of those places. And so, I mean, the Highlanders have an opportunity to cause some problems in the Big West. You just got to worry about those Santa Barbara guys and the Anteaters.
Yeah, they're good year after year after year. Just, great programs there. All right, Jeff, listen, again, Jeff will be on the call. UCR against UC Santa Barbara volleyball on Thursday night. So check it out. That's a 6 o'clock, I think, first serve, right? 6 o'clock? Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be first serve. I'm going to go home tonight. I'm going to shave. This is midweek mode right here. I'm going to shave and get ready for some volleyball. And then we got football and then the Friday night pep rally.
Hey, big thanks to you and Gazal for holding down the fort. I chipped in a little bit from a Holiday Inn Express gym up in Reading, but you guys really did all the heavy lifting, so I do appreciate it doing the football show last week.
Do you notice I'm wearing a Poly hat? Who would have thought that would ever happen?
I thought that was a U of R hat. I was going to ask you. I thought it was a University of Redlands Bulldogs hat.
No, when I'm away from home and I tell everybody I hate Poly, I still wear the gear that I'm given. Jim Vaughn gave me this hat, so I figured I'd wear it. So there you go. Riverside
I like
Poly.
that hat.
It's the only time you'll ever see me wear something of Poly because I still hate them.
Mr. Ram High, everybody, the great Jeff Goram. Again, you can catch him on UCR Volleyball. That's ESPN Plus, correct?
It's on the Plus, or what do they say? The Ocho. The
I've got it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go out to some high school football, but I think I can watch the replay on the Plus. So I'm going to come back and check out your call on volleyball. I can't wait.
I have not a clue. I played volleyball, but I can't wait to do it. It'll be fun.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Always appreciate the time, brother. I'll see you Friday night.
I love you, buddy. Hey, hello, everyone in the inland sports world. You're the best.
Jeff Goram, everybody, the one.
Going to be a quarterback for USC.
Oh, that's good. That's high expectations. That's awesome.
No, he's going to be 6'10". He's going to be playing power forward for somebody. He's not a quarterback.
Jeff, appreciate it, man.
You got it, bud.
Big thanks to the Big Jeezy himself, Jeff Goram. And now let's take a look at the I Am Gifted Athletes of the Week for this week, brought to you by Minnesota Vikings running back Alexander Mattison. He highlights and recognizes a boy and a girl athlete from his hometown of San Bernardino each and every week right here on the Inland Sports Show. So, Alex, you know what to do. Take it away.
And this week's I Am Gifted Female Athlete of the Week is Indian Springs tennis star Sandy Salgado, a great student and a standout on the tennis court. Salgado carries a 4.7 GPA and is the top singles player and has a 9-match winning streak. She's hoping to lead the Coyotes to another Mountain Valley League title this season. They're on a great start and she's doing amazing in the classroom. Congratulations, Sandy. And this week's I Am Gifted Male Athlete of the Week goes to Cajon quarterback Evan Powell, who had 303 all-purpose yards in a victory over Redlands East Valley 44-0 in their Citrus Belt League opener. Powell passed for 3 touchdowns and also rushed for 1. Powell and the Cowboys are looking for their 7th consecutive win in the CBL this season. Congratulations, Evan.
A big thanks to Alexander Mattison with his I Am Gifted Athletes of the Week. Big game coming up for the Vikings and Madison as they take on the Chiefs and Taylor Swift, I suppose, this coming week. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. My name is Pep Fernandez. We'll be back in the Teen Vision TV 16 studio next week. Again, Not feeling great this week. I was out of town and got a bad head cold. I'm on the tail end of it now, which is the good news. But still, the show must go on. Wanted to bring you guys some sports, the local sports this week. So we'll do it again in the studio come next week. Until then, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate it. And we'll see you next week on the Inland Sports Show. Stay safe. God bless you. We'll see you next time.